She planned everything down to the last detail because this was her birthday trip. 31 years old, and Ashlee Robinson was going to celebrate in style. She didn't know those rose petals spelling out her name on the ground in Tanzania would be the last beautiful thing she would ever stand in front of. She didn't know that the man who got down on one knee in front of her in Africa while a lion walked across the frame behind him was standing in the same resort when she took her last breath. And she didn't know that 11 hours would pass before anyone picked up a phone to tell her mother that something had gone terribly wrong. Here's what the world needs to know about Ashlee Robinson, known to over 150,000 followers on Instagram as Ashlee Jenae, and what may have really happened inside that villa in Zanzibar.
They killed my baby. I don't wish this on nobody.
A 31-year-old influencer was found dead in a hotel room just days after her husband proposed to her. Ashlee Jenae was reportedly discovered unresponsive inside a hotel in Tanzania. Authorities say her husband, John McCann, has been detained and is under investigation. The couple had been on a luxury vacation that appeared perfect online, just days before he had proposed during her birthday celebration. Photos showed smiles, celebrations, and what looked like a happy moment. Then everything suddenly changed. Investigators are now examining whether the death may have been staged. Officials have not released full details, but the case is being treated as suspicious. What's raising more questions is what happened after. Social media posts continued, appearing normal. Meanwhile, Ashlee had frequently shared their relationship online, but many noticed he rarely posted about her in return. That contrast is now drawing attention. Her family reportedly learned what happened through emergency contact notifications. The investigation is ongoing and more details are expected. How much of what we see is real, and how much is hidden?
Before we go any further, if this story matters to you, hit that like button right now and subscribe to Red Rage Crime TV on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We are reading every single one of your comments on this channel. Everyone. You all keep showing up and we want you to know we see you. Keep them coming. Now let's get into it. Ashlee Robinson grew up in South Jersey, Delaware border country. The kind of woman who did not wait for doors to open. She kicked them in herself. When her best friend got a job in Miami and needed somebody to ride along for the 18-hour drive, Ashlee said yes. Her return flight to New Jersey was already booked for Monday. By Wednesday, she had found herself a job in Miami. She went back home, packed her things, and never looked back. Miami suited her. She had the energy, the look, and the drive to match the city. She worked her way into the entertainment world, not through connections, not through luck. Through work. She appeared in music videos alongside Rick Ross, Migos, Meek Mill. But that kind of access is not handed to you. You earn it. By the time she was in her early 30s, Ashlee had stepped fully into content creation under the name Ashlee Jenae. Her brand was built around what she called the soft life: luxury travel, beauty, fashion, and the unapologetic belief that Black women deserve to live well and live boldly. Her Instagram grew to over 150,000 followers, real people. Behind the brand was a daughter. Her parents, Harry Robinson and Yolanda Denise Andres, were in Delaware, proud of every single thing she had built. When she traveled, she didn't disappear into the trip. She called home. She FaceTimed. She wanted the people she loved to see what she was seeing. That was Ashlee Robinson. A woman who worked for everything she had and shared every ounce of it with the people around her. Now let's talk about the man she was with. Joseph Isaac McCann, 45 years old, the founder and CEO of a company called Asymmetric Financial. In 2024, his crypto fund was ranked the #1 performing fund in the entire world, not just in crypto, across every asset class. His resume opened every door. Over 2 decades across Wall Street and Silicon Valley, a senior director at Microsoft, a quantitative trading operation at a San Francisco hedge fund, written up in Forbes, TechCrunch, and the Wall Street Journal. From the outside, Joe McCann looked like the total package. But here's something worth sitting with. He and Ashlee had been together about a year. From her side, the relationship was fully visible. She had him on her Instagram page, date nights, vacations, captions full of warmth. She was not hiding a thing. Joe, on the other hand, never posted her, not once. While she put him in front of 150,000 followers, he never acknowledged her publicly on his own page. Not a single post, not one mention. And then there were the comments on her page. Comments that had been sitting there for 20 weeks before she died. She never responded to a single one of them. Now let's look at what was happening inside Joe McCann's business, because this matters to understanding the full picture. By July 2025, his liquid investment fund, which had grown to nearly $400 million at its peak, had suffered losses of 70 to 80%. An investor went public on social media and disclosed that the fund had nearly collapsed. Shortly after, a $1.5 billion project that Joe was set to lead was halted. Former investors told Fortune magazine that their final redemption amount came back lower than what they had originally put in. Joe McCann went from running $400 million to watching his empire collapse in a matter of months. He was reportedly married before Ashlee, with the marriage ending in divorce. Reports connecting the marriage to physical abuse have surfaced, and multiple people who knew him in Miami said the arguments with Ashlee were not a one-time thing. They had been going at it for a while. So who was paying for their lifestyle? According to reports, Ashlee was. She funded the trips. She organized everything. This birthday safari to Zanzibar, she put it together. She paid for it. The woman planning her own birthday vacation to Africa had no idea what was waiting for her at the end of it. Now let's talk about Zanzibar, because Joe McCann was not a stranger there. Zanzibar is a jewel of East Africa, white sand, crystal water, 5-star resorts. It is also the site of a $1 billion development project called the Nia Cyber City, a special economic zone being built specifically for crypto innovators, blockchain developers, and tech investors. No capital gains tax, no wealth tax, tax incentives for foreign businesses. The Zanzibar government is a partner in this project. And the target audience? Exactly the kind of people Joe McCann spent his entire career chasing. Reports from people who knew Joe suggest he had been to Zanzibar multiple times. He knew people there. This was not a first-time tourist stopping by for a safari. He had roots in that place, which raises one question that has not been answered. Why exactly did Joe McCann keep going back to Zanzibar? Was it for business? Was it because he knew the system there? Was it because, as one person put it bluntly, in Zanzibar, if you have the right American dollars, you can make almost anything go away?
And he is known, he's a frequent, visitor. They know him. That changes the story. It's not like somebody who just went there for the first time. And then, he also chose a place where the police can be bribed.
We are not making accusations here, but we are asking the question. The trip started beautifully. On April 3rd, at the Serval Wildlife Resort, rooms running nearly $1,000 a night, Joe got down on one knee. A lion walked across the frame behind him. Ashlee said yes. She posted the video almost immediately. Oh, caption still taking this in somewhere in Africa. On April 5th, her 31st birthday, the resort had rose petals arranged on the ground, spelling out HBD Ashlee. She fed a giraffe with her bare hands. She pulled out her phone and posted, Chapter 31, and I'm exactly where I need to be. Joe replied to the post with one word, me. She replied with one word, forever. That exchange was one of the last things she publicly posted. Her mother, Yolanda Denise Endres, told reporters she called us to FaceTime us, to share with us her travel and her vacation. She was not withdrawn. She was a daughter sharing the best moments of her life with the people she loved most. 3 days later, everything changed. On April 8th, Ashlee called her mother. She told Yolanda that she and Joe had argued. It was serious enough that hotel management at the Zuri Zanzibar stepped in and separated them. Joe was moved to a different villa, a 10-minute walk away. Police later confirmed that other guests had complained about the couple arguing frequently throughout their stay. This was not one bad night. According to witnesses, there had been friction from early in the trip. Now here's the part of this story that demands your full attention. A hotel worker making routine rounds checked on Ashlee that night. She was alive. She asked to borrow a phone charger. The worker got her one. And then Ashlee asked the worker to come back in 15 minutes. Think about that. A woman asking a hotel worker to come back in 15 minutes. Does that sound like a woman planning to take her own life? Why would you need your phone charged if you're not planning on being around? When the worker returned, the door was locked. The lights were off. Using a spare key, the worker entered. What they found stopped everything.
Breaking news, we now know new details in the tragic passing of Ashlee Jenae. Ashlee Robinson, who went by Ashlee Jenae on social media, and her new fiancé were on vacation in Tanzania. On April 3rd, during their vacation, her boyfriend at the time proposed, becoming her fiancé. Then on April 5th, Ashlee celebrated her 31st birthday. All of the photos and celebration that we have seen took place at this hotel. On April 6th, Ashlee and her fiancé moved to a different hotel just north. When they arrived, Ashlee and her fiancé were staying in room 25. 2 days after they arrived, they got into an altercation and hotel staff moved them apart. This was after room 24, which was directly next to the couple's bungalow, complained of the noise. Ashlee's fiancé was moved to this bungalow area. Shortly after that, a hotel attendant was making their rounds for inspections and they found Ashlee looking for a phone charger and they were able to get her one. She then asked the attendant to return in about 15 minutes. When the hotel worker eventually went back to her room, the door was locked and the lights were off.
According to reports from people close to the investigation, Ashlee was found unresponsive. A belt was around her neck. She was taken first to a local hospital, then transferred to a second facility. The second hospital listed her cause of death as cerebral hypoxia, brain damage caused by strangulation and suffocation. The first hospital's medical report contained a line that is difficult to read without pausing. It stated, and these are the actual words in the document according to her husband. He found she hung herself on the door, and right after that explanation, the medical staff wrote 5 question marks. The doctors who received that information could not write it down without expressing doubt on paper. The people responsible for the official medical report could not hide what they were thinking. When does that ever happen? Now, when did Joe McCann call Ashlee's mother? 11 hours after she was found. And when he did call, he told Yolanda that Ashlee was okay. She was stable. Don't worry about it. She was at the hospital. Yolanda Endres told reporters, I asked him when it happened and where it happened, and he told me that something had occurred 11 hours prior to when he was reaching out to me. Hours later, the family got another call. Not from Joe, from the hotel. But that's how they learned Ashlee Robinson was dead. The U.S. Embassy reached out through the emergency contact information on her passport, not through the man who had called her forever 6 days earlier. After her death became public, Joe McCann went silent. He deleted her presence from his social media. He made no statement. He never said her name publicly. He cut off all communication with her family. Her parents, Harry Robinson and Yolanda, told TMZ they had heard nothing from him. Not a word, not a call, nothing. Her father said the fiancé did not reach out to us at all. We found out from the hotel. That's devastating when your daughter is halfway around the world. Joe's social media accounts continued to post about cryptocurrency and business. Because, as has been reported, wealthy executives often have assistants managing their pages, especially when they might be otherwise unavailable. And Joe McCann was in fact being held by Tanzanian authorities. His passport was confiscated. He was being questioned. He has not been charged with any crime. He has not been officially accused of wrongdoing by authorities. But his passport is gone, and he has not said a word. Zanzibar Police Commander Benedict Mapajira gave the official statement. He said the couple had a misunderstanding. They were separated. Joe McCann later found Ashlee. The ruling was self-inflicted. Case closed. No suspect, no crime. Savannah Britt, one of Ashlee's closest friends and a PR executive, didn't accept that for 1 second. She posted, "We need justice for my friend Ashlee Jenae. Anyone who knows Ash knows she would never. We need answers now." Her mother said she has never done anything that would ever lead me to believe that she would do something to harm herself. She was happy. Her father said nothing about it. Makes sense, it just doesn't add up. The family's formal statement said it plainly. Ashlee's death was suspicious.
Uncertainty, mystery, anger, sadness. It's like a part of me has been taken away.
On April 5th, influencer Ashlee Robinson, who goes by Ashlee Jenae on social media, was celebrating her 31st birthday in Zanzibar, Tanzania. She was on the vacation with her boyfriend of 1 year, who popped the question just 2 days before.
We believe that they were in love. We believe that their relationship was genuine.
Ashlee's mother says she never would have expected that less than a week later, her daughter would be dead. On April 8th, she says Ashlee called, saying she and her fiancé got into an argument and were moved to separate rooms. The next day, she received another call, this time from her fiancé.
He told me that Ashlee did something to herself and that she was being taken to the hospital. I said, what happened when? And he told me it had been 11 hours prior.
Hours later, the luxury hotel the couple was staying at called saying Ashlee passed away. According to the hospital's medical report, Ashlee had an unidentified mark around her neck. They wrote, quote, according to the husband, he found she hanged herself on the door with several question marks.
Sometime Jill went back to the room with security, and that's how they found her.
Ashlee was also taken to a second hospital who listed her cause of death as cerebral hypoxia by strangulation and suffocation.
She's never done anything that would ever lead me to believe that she would do something to harm herself.
She was not just going to be discarded and forgotten about.
They reached out to the police, the consulate, and the U.S. Embassy. They requested surveillance footage from the Zuri Zanzibar resort. What they got back was a confirmation that the investigation was ongoing, and nothing else. No footage, no timeline, no answers. The State Department said it was monitoring the case. The embassy said their role was limited to consular services. They could not lead the investigation. They could not force Tanzanian officials to move faster or share more. American families who lose loved ones on foreign soil face a wall that most people don't know exists until they're standing right in front of it. This is where the questions pile up and refuse to sit still. Joe McCann's company collapsed 70 to 80% in 2025. Ashlee was reportedly funding their lifestyle. He had been to Zanzibar multiple times before. He knew people there. He knew the landscape. He proposed to her. Then days later, she was gone. He waited 11 hours to call her mother. He deleted her from his page. He has not spoken publicly about her death. A hotel worker saw her a live phone charger in hand, telling someone to come back in 15 minutes. And the medical staff who received the explanation for her death felt compelled to write 5 question marks next to it. What was the argument about that night? What happened in that villa in those hours between when the worker saw her alive and when she was found unresponsive? Where is the surveillance footage from that resort? Who else did Joe McCann know on that island? And why does a man whose fiancé just died not feel the need to say her name even once? We are not convicting anyone here, but we are not going to pretend the official story adds up either. There is a pattern in these stories. Black women traveling abroad, dying under circumstances that don't quite fit, and families left fighting from thousands of miles away with no real power and no real answers. Shankela Robinson in Cabo, Monique Karungi in Dubai, and now Ashlee Robinson in Zanzibar. Every time the family is the last to know. Every time the answers come slow or not at all. As of now, there is no confirmed cause of death beyond what Joe McCann told authorities. No arrest on record, no footage released to the family, no official answers. Her parents are still pushing, her friends are still saying her name, and her last post feeding a giraffe rose petals at her feet, ring on her finger, caption reading, Chapter 31, and I'm exactly where I need to be is still up. Still getting tributes from people who never met her but feel the weight of what happened. She meant every word of that caption. She was not saying goodbye. She did not know she was writing one. Ashlee Robinson deserves answers. Her family deserves answers. And this story is not going anywhere until we get them. Red Rage Crime TV family, we want to hear from you right now. Drop your theories in the comments below. Does the official story hold water? What do you think really happened inside that villa? And to everyone who has been showing up and leaving comments on this channel, we read every single one of them. Everyone, you keep bringing the energy and we are here for it. Keep it coming. If this story moved you, share this video. Let's make sure Ashlee's name keeps traveling. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Red Rage Crime TV. We are not letting cases like this go cold. We will be back with the next update the moment something breaks. Until then, watch out for one another, stay safe, and rest in peace, Ashlee Robinson. We are watching. We are not forgetting.
We're learning new details tonight about the death of an influencer with local ties who was found dead while on vacation in Africa. Ashlee Robinson, who goes by Ashlee Jenae online, was on a birthday trip with her fiance at the time.
Well, tonight we're learning her fiance is still being questioned as Robinson's family desperately tries to find out what happened to her.
It is Tuesday night. Shari's off. Alicia Vitarelli is joining us, and the big story in Action News is the mysterious death of a South Jersey woman, now drawing international attention.
Now, tonight, we know new details from authorities about her death. She was on a vacation of a lifetime in Zanzibar, Tanzania, which is on the east coast of Africa. Action News reporter John Paul live in the Satellite Center now with the very latest, and the family desperate for answers, John.
Yeah, Alicia, Rick, they are desperate for those answers. Now, we did get some new information. We know that authorities in Tanzania have confiscated her fiance's passport. This is while he's still being questioned. But according to the BBC, local authorities there in Tanzania did not originally suspect him of any wrongdoing, while the family continues to be desperate to know what happened.
I don't think no one else is going to fight for it the way we will.
That fight continues tonight as the parents of Ashlee Robinson press for answers as to what happened to their daughter who was found dead in Tanzania. Today, the two spent the day in Washington, D.C., trying to get information from the embassy. They spoke with Action News yesterday, saying they were getting nowhere.
No one wants to talk to us. Like, just let us know what happened. That's the only thing we want to know is the truth.
There is nothing that's confirmed. We don't have anything from the police or law enforcement that states that there is a conclusion to anything. It's under investigation, and it's under investigation because it doesn't look right.
Robinson, a 31-year-old social media influencer who went by Ashlee Jenae online, was found unresponsive in her hotel room in Zanzibar and declared dead April 9th. Police say they're investigating it as a possible suicide, but investigators in Tanzania said she had been in a fight with her fiancé, Joe McCann, hours earlier, and the two were separated by hotel staff. He was moved to a different villa, which was about a 10-minute walk away from where she was staying. Her parents are now pushing for security footage from the Zuri Zanzibar hotel.
If there's security footage, that will tell the story. So we just want to know if there's any security footage, if there's anything just to saying that what he's saying is true.
The hotel hasn't responded to them, but did provide a brief statement to ABC News, saying they were deeply saddened by a tragic incident involving one of our guests. Tonight, the family's preparing to fly to Zanzibar to try to get answers in person.
I just know that I have to keep going forward. I'm never going to give up. And I just want the truth out there.
We did reach out to McCann. He has not responded. As for the autopsy, that is expected to be released at some point tomorrow. The parents tell me that they are still trying to make the trip out to Africa. They expect to do that sometime this week, but they are waiting on that autopsy. Live tonight in the Satellite Center, John Paul, Channel 6 Action News. Rick?
All right, John, thank you for that report tonight.
And now the details on the investigation into the death of Ashlee Robinson. Her family is demanding answers after the influencer from South Jersey was found dead during a trip to Africa where she had just been engaged. Action News reporter Cheyenne Corinne joining us live in the Satellite Center with more on this heartbreaking story. Cheyenne.
Alicia, well, Ashlee Robinson, she actually was raised locally in South Jersey, and now her death in Zanzibar is making headlines across the world. Well, today we spoke to her family in Delaware, who say they aren't getting answers from her fiance or officials in Tanzania about what happened to her.
Uncertainty, mystery, anger, sadness. It's like a part of me has just been taken away.
On April 5th, influencer Ashlee Robinson, who goes by Ashlee Jenae on social media, was celebrating her 31st birthday in Zanzibar, Tanzania. She was on the vacation with her boyfriend of 1 year, who popped the question just 2 days before.
We believe that they were in love. We believe that their relationship was genuine.
Ashlee's mother says she never would have expected that less than a week later, her daughter would be dead. On April 8th, she says Ashlee called, saying she and her fiance got into an argument and were moved to separate rooms. The next day, she received another call, this time from her fiance.
He told me that Ashlee did something to herself and that she was being taken to the hospital. I said, what happened when? And he told me it had been 11 hours prior.
Hours later, the luxury hotel the couple was staying at called saying Ashlee passed away. According to the hospital's medical report, Ashlee had an unidentified mark around her neck. They wrote, quote, according to the husband, he found she hanged herself on the door with several question marks.
Sometime Jill went back to the room with security, and that's how they found her.
Ashlee was also taken to a second hospital who listed her cause of death as cerebral hypoxia by strangulation and suffocation.
She's never done anything that would ever lead me to believe that she would do something to harm herself.
She was not just going to be discarded and forgotten about.
And the family, as you just heard, they are just desperate for information. They tell us that they are requesting surveillance footage from the resort. They also say that they have contacted police, the consulate, and embassy and have not heard back. Now, Action News, we also tried to contact Ashlee's fiance and we also did not get a response. The family says their next steps are going to Zanzibar themselves to try to get answers. We're live in the Satellite Center. Cheyenne Karen, Channel 6. Action News, Rick.
All right, Cheyenne, thank you for that report.